And we are live. I'm Jonno Proudfoot, and we have got Tertia there with us. Tertia, hello, how are you?
Thank you very much. I'm doing well, extremely well. I'm happy.
Good. Well, you look well. You look 30 kilos lighter, which is amazing. So thank you for coming to talk to us. I know that we're going to get through quite a lot, but can you start off by just telling us, if we go back 9 months or 12 months, tell us about your condition, your health condition, energy levels, any physical stats you can think of.
Okay, 9 months ago, I must say I wasn't really, my health wasn't that bad in the sense where I was really ill or had a chronic disease, but I was extremely fatigued. I was always tired. I didn't feel like doing anything. So I think mentally, I really battled to be motivated and inspired and get up in the mornings and do things. And what I did know is that at that stage, I battled with hypoglycemia, bouts of low blood sugar, and my fasting insulin levels were extremely high. And then I also had a low vitamin D level, extremely low, that we've been trying for about 6 years, taking supplements, trying to increase the vitamin D levels, but we just never managed. It used to be 17, and the highest we could get it was about 20 to 21. And if you look at some of the labs, they would say it's got to be at least 50 to be adequate, but preferably 70 to 100 to be optimal health. So that was quite an extreme vitamin D level. And that worried me, especially knowing how important vitamin D is in things like immune system and energy levels and a lot of those things. Although I wasn't specifically ill or sick, I really just felt under the weather the whole time. Just didn't feel like, getting up and doing things. And then also I've struggled with sore feet. I really battled to walk. It was to me quite a difficult thing to do. And especially here in Vienna, everybody loves walking. And it was always horrible for me not to be able to go and enjoy the scenery and the heights and that because of my problem with my sore feet.
Absolutely, totally get it. And what were you doing about your health at the time, or about everything? Yeah.
At that stage, I always focused on weight loss. So when my weight was really going up, I would sort of put on the brakes and work at focusing on losing the weight. I never really focused on health. Health for me was something that I just had and it was okay. And maybe once I get older, I'll worry about it. I think I had a very casual, nonchalant type of idea about my health because I'd never really suffered with seriously bad health. So that wasn't my focus. I always thought it's something I'll work on late in life.
And you said that you were always trying to lose weight. So you had a complicated relationship with food.
Extremely complicated, yes. I think very disturbed and very sick to a certain extent. But for me, food had these two sides. The one side, it was there to soothe me, and it was something I always saw food as my best friend. Because I always thought food was there for me. Whenever I needed it, it was there. It never disappointed me. And yet, it was actually my biggest enemy because I couldn't withstand or I couldn't say no to temptations. I couldn't say no to the things I knew I was not supposed to eat. So I had I would say, love-hate relationship with food. I would use food to soothe me. But on the other hand, then I get depressed and I feel worse. Or when I celebrate, I will use food. If I was sad, I would use food. I think what I've realized is that I used food to fix emotions. I never learned to sit with my emotions if they were uncomfortable or to identify them. So food was the emotion fixer for me because then I just felt cross with myself and I knew self-anger because now I could say, yeah, you see, you've done it again. Where if I had to sit with a new emotion, I didn't know what to do with it. So I think that was really a double-edged sword for me when it came to food. And I would see food as a symbol of love, but yet I would also see it as punishment. So there was quite a lot of, I would say, emotional connotation. I don't think I was too interested in the beginning in the nutritional value of food. Why God intended us to eat food and the reason why we're supposed to eat food. To me, it was more an emotional and feeding my emotions and my soul than feeding my body. And then I must admit, I always were very hungry. I never had a button that said, okay, now you've had enough. I was always hungry, always craving, always obsessed with food. I can remember as a child of 10, that was my first memory of thinking there's something wrong with me, or that I was different, because I went to a birthday party of a friend and everybody was playing and enjoying themselves, and all I thought is, why aren't we eating? And all I wanted to do was to have the cake and the sweets, and I couldn't understand why everybody wants to play. And that was sort of the first realization that maybe there's something wrong with me because other people don't feel about food the way I do. But then I think that is where I started to realize that I don't have a good relationship with food, but I thought it's because I'm bad. Not because there's a metabolic problem at that age. It was just because I'm bad.
And what do you think the impact of that relationship with food has been on you know, we always talk about relationships, career, and love life. What do you think, what impact has that had?
I think it definitely had an impact on relationships, friendships, because I always, somewhere along the line as a child, I developed a belief that to be worthy, you have to be thin. And I think that is one of the things that really came through strong on my journey now with Real Meal Revolution. But so to me, I always felt less worthy, not good enough, because of the fact that I couldn't control my food intake or my weight. So I think that definitely made relationships more difficult for me to connect with people. Career-wise, I would actually say eventually it ended my career or stole my career, because I trained as a dietitian in 1984. And I thought, well, knowledge is going to do it. You know, if I've got the knowledge, I'm going to be successful and I'm going to be thin. And not realizing that it's a lot more than the knowledge on the food. So actually, in about just somewhere between 2002 or that, it became more and more difficult for me to actually practice as a dietitian, because I always realized if I ate different from what the general standard diet was that we actually prescribed or suggested to patients, then I didn't feel well. So for me, it was, I knew I had a problem with carbs, and I knew I had a problem with sugar from very early in my life. But I always thought there must be something wrong with me, because why are we taught to eat the standard diet with 50% or more carbs and low fat and very moderate in protein? So it really became, I felt like a fraud, because I knew I felt better if I don't eat the standard diet, and yet I had to preach that, tell that to people. So I actually stopped practicing as a dietitian. I had a private practice and I worked in hospitals, but I eventually just stopped. I just couldn't keep up, shall I say, the performance. I didn't feel comfortable with it anymore. Yeah, and of course, then when I backed out and there was no pressure on me, then my weight really went up extremely high.
And then that took you to, so I know that you had a transformation early in the sort of early 2010s, and
Yes.
then
Yes.
And then you lost weight and put it back on, and then you landed up in 2020, right?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so what happened in 2020 that made you want to relook at this as a project?
Okay, let me just mention quickly, 2011, I was really overweight, but then I came to the realization that I am a food addict. And I started to identify what I call alcohol foods in my life, and I just completely excluded them, avoided them, and still till today I don't eat those foods, things like sugars, cakes, puddings, chocolates, that I stopped using in 2012. But then in 2020, we moved to Vienna in 2018, and then 2020, when the epidemic hit the world, I woke up one morning and realized I'm part of the risk group. Suddenly I'm older. And I've always thought when I'm older, I'm going to work on my health. And I thought, well, how old do I want to be before I start working on this health issue? And I realized I'm overweight. And I realized I had increased insulin levels, fasting levels. And those all came through as risk factors. So I think those were the first things that actually I realized I need to do something about it. I need to look at but again, I just focused on weight. I just thought I'll just lose the weight, everything will be okay. And also my children really asked me to look at my health. My daughter wants to fall pregnant. She wants a grandmother for her children that can play with them. And I think especially in the family, it was really a point of, it became important that I took responsibility for my health instead of just focusing on the weight. I can say thank you to COVID and lockdown.
The silver linings. And Tertia, so you decided, okay, I'm going to make a difference. And then what led you to Real Meal Revolution?
Yeah, that's quite interesting. I was at a point of being really desperate and really not knowing how I'm going to do this again, because previously I lost a lot of weight. And I just didn't know how I was going to do that again. I knew I couldn't do it alone. I knew I needed support. I'm sitting in a country where everybody speaks German. Language is a barrier. And I thought, Lord, where am I going to find English-speaking people that think like me about food and that can understand, that emotional link that I have with food. And I was really praying very hard. And then the next morning, an email popped up on my laptop. And it was from you, so introducing RMR and telling about the program. And at first I thought, shall I take this leap? And I thought, well, if this is not an answer to prayer and if this is not my destination, then I really don't know what. So I really grabbed the opportunity. And that is how I actually met up with RMR, was through a marketing, I don't know what you guys call it, marketing RMR email. But yes, I think you found me. I don't know if I found you, but you found me. So that was good.
And then you joined the online course, and you were part of the weekly workshops on a Friday. And just before we go into the Hero program, because I want to get to that. But you came to the mindset workshops and the dietitian education and the eating psychology. What did you get out of those?
True. It just changed my whole perception. And to me, it was like a relief when Bridget spoke about the healthy keto way. And I thought, wow, I was not that mad or crazy many moons ago when I knew that I felt better if that was the way I eat. So with what I really enjoyed was all the research and the knowledge that is based on science. And I think that was because of my background. So that really made me trust the program information. And then in your mindset, I can't even explain what happened to my mind in your mindsets workshops, but you just completely opened up my eyes, got me to challenge my belief systems, got me to challenge where I'm going to, what I want to achieve, because I think also with the weight problem, you eventually give up your dreams, you give up your goals, you just accept, well, if I can't even keep my weight down, how am I ever really going to achieve any goals? I can remember you said once, where do you want to be in 10 years' time with your health? And I thought, 10 years' time, I can't even think next year, where do I want to be? Well, now, if I think 10 years, I'm excited and I can actually dream about what I want my health to be like in 10 years' time. And the psychology as well, just the help of how to break the triggers and that want to make you eat, and to understand the path of addiction, and recognizing myself in so many of the workshops, and the information gave me the confidence that these people understand where I'm coming from, and they will know how to help me to eventually get to my end goal. So I got a lot from the workshops, and it kept me motivated to know that, next Friday I'm going to go attend a workshop again. So that was really inspirational to me. I think it was the basis of wanting more than just losing weight.
Like a good foundation. And then you joined the pilot program, the very first hero program. And
very scary experience.
Yeah. Tell me about your experience of the hero program.
Yes, I
Why
must
were you nervous?
When you introduced it, I was nervous because suddenly I knew I'm going to have to become quite honest. I'm going to have to share. I'll have to be vulnerable. The values that you spoke about of being uncomfortable so that you can grow, I didn't like that at all. There's things like you do you and I do me, and I was used to people giving me advice and do's and don'ts, and suddenly I have to sit back and not fix people. And so I learned so many new skills, but I think it was that initial fear of being vulnerable. And what if I don't make it? What if I fail? And that commitment was huge. For 12 weeks, every 2 weeks, to commit, that made it real. That really gave me no options of quitting.
And so how did you find the engagement? So there was the fortnightly Zoom workshops and then the WhatsApp group, like on a daily basis. What did you get out of the workshops over and above what you've just said? So you did say that you had to not fix people.
I think what I really got from it challenged me to think about what I really need to change. But I need to come back to the whole idea of goal setting, because that was an area I always struggled in my life. I had this fantastic outcome goals, and then by week 8 or 7, they're down the drain because I just don't achieve them. I don't know how, and it's just so overwhelming. So in that first round, being taught how to break it down in smaller process goals and how to achieve a small process goal every 2 weeks made a huge difference in my my journey. Because suddenly I could see, but I can do this. It's just this one little thing, and I can do that. And the fact that we reported on a daily basis kept that real for me. So I couldn't sort of say, okay, let me take a break this week, and next week I'll quickly do all the things I'm supposed to do. So it was that continuous practicing and finding maybe the obstacles that you could get over, and eventually after 2 weeks you could sort of know that process goal you've managed to achieve it. So all those little wins of achieving a small goal actually added all up in me believing that I can do this. I can achieve that outcome goal. So I think that was the accountability. And learning so much from other people's experiences. I found that because we all shared, and learning to do that respectfully, not sort of jumping halfway into the person's conversation and wanting to give advice. And I really learned a lot of skills in those accountability groups of heroes.
And how did you find the WhatsApp sort of daily engagement? Because some people hear that and it terrifies them.
I can understand that. I think in the beginning I also felt overwhelmed, because now suddenly you think you need to have advice for everybody, or you need to answer every single WhatsApp that comes in. And eventually you understand how it works. You don't have to be 10 hours on the WhatsApp with this group. I mean, what I found very nice is that one of the group leaders also said, well, I check in the morning and I check in the afternoon, because those are the times I have, because some people said they don't have time to check in every day. So I think there's definitely ways to get around it so that it's not overwhelming. Because I think for some people that work full day and then they still have to answer WhatsApp, it might feel overwhelming. But the benefit of doing that, even if you just clock in at 6 o'clock in the morning and maybe at 11 tonight, the benefits I found was tremendous. I really do believe that was part of my success.
So how did you benefit from it? Just sort of explain that a little bit more.
I think, as I say, it kept me in the game. It kept me committed. It kept me motivated. It was inspiring for me to read when one of the other people in the group achieved a goal. I was so excited because then you just realize if they can achieve a goal, you can achieve a goal. So I think the encouragement, the inspiration, the motivation, seeing how other people are also working through obstacles and it's not just you, just made it easier for me to keep connected, to stay connected, but to keep committed. Because I think that's the big thing. And I think you explained that once to us in that first group. At 8 weeks, we all thought, that's it. We are battling. And you said, well, this is the right time to realize that that's when most people quit. If they start with the transformation program. So you as a leader helping us through that phase where you feel you want to quit and give up, it's too hard or too difficult, but realizing that it's normal. It's not because you're bad or anything like that. I think carried all of us through where we made that 12 weeks and everybody had good success. So I think it's vital. For me, it was a vital part of the success on the journey.
Now let's talk about some of the success. So I remember because I ran your first group, and then I think you moved to Sam or Sharon.
I had Sharon.
Sharon, yeah. And then and so when you left me, I think you had lost like 13 kilos or 11 kilos in the first 12 weeks. Then so what happened? What happened after you left me?
After I left you, I came back to Vienna from South Africa, and just to mention that I was actually for 3 months on holiday when I became part of that first Euro group. And I think that was part of my being afraid because, we sort of know we relaxed over holiday. But I think that was the good thing that I did that during my holiday, and that kept me on the right path during my holiday. So I came back to Vienna. And I still lost about 3 or 4 kilos, and then I hit a plateau with my weight. And that to me was quite tough because I had the success, and I've been losing because up to then I lost 11 kilos when I just joined and 13 kilos with you in that first Euro group. So it was in the 20s, and suddenly it was like there's no weight loss. There's no centimeter change. I get on the scale. It was really a bad time. And but fortunately, like Sharon and everybody in the group kept motivating me. And all I could say is keep on keeping on. And what I've learned in the program and the Euro programs especially is the obstacle is the way. And I really thought, I don't understand that one. Me and obstacles, I don't like obstacles. And then I realized the value because then it became tough. There was an obstacle. I was not eating. I was not eating incorrectly. So I couldn't blame myself or, say, okay, but I'm not following the program. I actually even then thought, well, maybe I must just give it up. My body is just not functioning the way it's supposed to be, and it's just another diet and all those things. And then I realized that this is the time not to quit. And I remembered like your mindset workshops, that the obstacle is the way, and you need to troubleshoot and you need to find a solution because that obstacle is not going to disappear. And I can clearly remember you showed us a picture of how it looks when people are successful. And I always thought it's just a linear line, they start here and they're successful. And you had all the scribbles and scrubbles, and I thought, okay, that's now where I am. And so it gave me the peace of mind that with the help of the team of RMR, we can find a solution. There's got to be a way that I can break through with the weight. So I joined again for the next Euro meeting. I made an appointment with Bridget, dietitian, and we troubleshoot. We adapted a few things in my diet, and thanks God, my weight is coming down again slowly but surely, and I have my energy back, and I'm just so pleased that I didn't quit when the obstacle arrived, and I didn't just decide that's it.
No.
If it wasn't for the Euro support, the support of the Euro program and the leader, I might have just walked away. So really, that made a difference for me to hang in there and to see this through.
Well done. That really is incredible, because a lot of people, they quit when it's, when it gets tough. You love riding downhill when you like the keto honeymoon, losing a kilo a week, everything's amazing, and then you hit like one speed bump and you're like, oh, this diet doesn't work, like forgetting that it's actually, so it's amazing. Now,
I think the other thing, sorry, that I also just want to say, because the program, and especially the Euro program, shift my focus from weight loss to health. In that difficult time when there was no movement on the scale, I could feel my health being better, my health improving, walking more comfortably, being able to climb stairs. So I could focus on health issues, and that got me through the time where if I was just focusing on the scale, I would have probably quit on the program.
Vanity is not enough.
Absolutely. Especially if you feel you give up everything and the reward is not there. It's tough to keep on.
Yeah, so let's talk about that, giving stuff up. So a lot of people see that as a deterrent, and I think that's what drives a lot of the obesity sort of epidemic, is it's like have to quit and be restrictive. And you said that you've changed your relationship with food. So how do those pieces all fit together for you now?
I think the one thing that has changed is, in a certain way, it happened naturally. Because usually when I went on a diet plan, it was always low carb, low sugar, low fat, low calories. So I was like starving, craving, obsessed with food. The more I was on the diet, the more obsessed I became about food and weight, because it was like my mind was busy with it 24 hours a day. I would even dream about eating something that I'm not supposed to eat. And then on this plan, the moment I added the healthy, saturated animal fats into my diet, everything changed, because suddenly I wasn't hungry. The cravings disappeared. I could manage normal meals. I didn't feel that I had to eat more than what a portion is supposed to be like. And it was so interesting. Victoria spoke to us the other day about when we go on the healthy keto way of eating, that breaks the addiction, because it actually balances the chemicals in the body. So in other words, your hormones and the metabolic imbalance comes into balance. And then I found that now my mind is clear. I don't feel like I've got brain fog. I feel like I can think. And suddenly I had the ability to make better decisions. I had the ability to set goals and achieve them because my mind was working. I think the diet was so different, and because of that, I could actually work on the psychological things or the emotional things, because the keto way of eating took care of the imbalances in the biochemistry in my body. And I think to me that was the biggest thing that changed when I started with the eating plan.
So tell me about the actual work around the emotional side of food. So what work were you able to do now that the craving and the hormones and everything were under control?
It's actually quite funny, but I can now sit with my uncomfortable emotions and have a party. I can have a cup of tea, or I can just sit down and say, okay, you know what, now I feel uncomfortable. Something is not right. I feel sad. I feel disappointed. So it freed me up to actually identify what I'm feeling. And then handling the feeling, working through it, and eventually not having to eat about it. And especially when I was in South Africa, when you also had suggested that I write down my struggle for the day and my win for the day, I could pick up how many times that struggle was emotions. and how I managed to win by just accepting the feeling or working through the feeling, and not having to always fix it or change it, by just accepting it, feeling it. That made a huge difference for me in changing my relationship with food, because then I knew I don't have to eat about it. And the one thing I really tell myself is, one bite is too much, and 1,000 after that is never enough. So before I now go into that first, shall I say, compulsive bite, that first bite that I shouldn't take, that's the one thing that I always remember. And I always tell myself as well, if that can help anybody, that nothing tastes as good as abstinence feels. So there's no food that can give me the pleasure that I can get from a win if I actually manage not to take that first bite. So to me, and I realize it's all in the mind. It's really a mind game. But once the chemistry is balanced, then my brain can function and I can take rational decisions.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very powerful mindset to be able to hold on to. So what were some of the key takeaways that you took from the Hero program?
I think the one thing is that I can really say is that the Hero program delivered on your promise of RMA, or that said, we empower you to take your power back. Because I really felt that is what's been happening in the Hero group. I started to get my power back. And I realized every time in a group session, I could feel all of us fighting for the power, for helping each other to don't give up on the power. So for me, I felt totally powerless over food, and I felt totally powerless to change my health and my weight. Once I started on this Hero program, it gave me the power to know that I have the power to make changes. And I have the power to say no when I need to, and I have the power to say yes when I have to say yes. So I think that was one of the major things that I experienced through the Hero program, was really being empowered to take control of my health and take control of my life, if I can put it that way, and being able to just make better and more rational decisions, and then being challenged. I think that's the one thing that I've learned in the Heroes program, that no, it's no good just being. You have to challenge yourself. You have to look at that process goal. It's got to be achievable, but at least it must be a bit of a challenge. I can't for 12 weeks be complacent just to do one little thing and be happy with myself. And I think that would be the easy way out, because I can say, oh, I've done it. And I think the biggest challenge came when I battled to lose more weight, to find different process goals. Thinking about journaling, sleeping better, and not because my weight goal was basically the goal that I came in for. But then really taking the focus of that and implementing other health strategies. So that's something I will also take with me, is this, I want to start to speak German and understand the language. And I even sat down and I worked out exactly 12 weeks. This is what I want to say in German. Then now I need to start with saying 10 words every day. So I even applied that process goal, as you taught us, to look at other skills in my life or other areas in my life that I would like to see improvement. And I think that is something that I would not have been able to do if I weren't part of the Hero group. Because we had so many time to practice the goals and to have clear goals and to achieve them. So that's now sort of an automatic habit that I'll take with me on that one.
That's a real habit when it becomes automatic. Hey? So now you're saying, you like made my day now. So you're saying now when you think of setting a goal, you say, okay, now what can I achieve? Like, what's the long-term version? What can I achieve in 12 weeks? How do I break it down into small chunks? And then that is amazing. Thank you. That is awesome.
You succeeded.
That's such a win.
It's so amazing how I actually want to say something small and stupid like that can actually be life-changing. Because I mean, I've learned about goal setting many moons ago, but I never really applied it. And I think that's the thing. The other thing that Heroes taught me is to practice. It's no good having knowledge, but if I don't use it, I mean, it's not going to do anything for me.
Totally. So give us some statistics now. So obviously the banner says you've lost 30 kilos. You mentioned that you had some pain in your feet, and what other physical or benefits have you had?
I must just correct you. It is now 31 kilos that I've lost.
You
added the 1 kilo. Yes, and then I must say, centimeters-wise, I've lost a lot. I lost somewhere in the, I think, 39 centimeters around my waist.
Yes.
And it was 24 centimeters around the breast, and the hips, I think, was 34 centimeters. So there was a huge loss in the centimeter side as well, which I'm very grateful for. And then feet-wise, my feet, I actually started walking again with the help of the Hero group, the inspiration and the encouragement. And on the days where I just didn't feel like it, I knew I had to go for that walk or climb those stairs because I've got to report back. And something that was very special is one lady suggested, but think about it as outside time. And that changed my viewpoint, because I also believe that exercise is punishment. Because usually when I had to lose weight, I need to exercise. So that's part of the punishment. So that was another limiting belief that I experienced or had a revelation on while working through your workshop on beliefs. So now I can walk. I think I've done 7 or 8 kilometers at a time. My aim is in my closure of this Hero program to walk a 10-kilometer hike and to climb 4 flights of stairs, and I'm well on my way to achieve those goals. And it changed my relationships, because now I can go and walk with my husband. We can go and do adventurous things, because previously I didn't even want to go shopping because of my feet being so sore. And now one of my fun walks is to go to shopping centers and look for new shops and interesting shops. So, where previously I couldn't do something like that. So, and my vitamin D, what the amazing thing about that is that my vitamin D levels in my blood doubled. Because I had another check sort of end of last year. So I started August, and in December I had my vitamin D levels checked. And the only change I made was to add animal fats, saturated fats, back into my diet, and they doubled to 42, where it used to be 17 to 20. So that to me is like a major shift on the health side. Definitely, I don't experience low blood sugar at all anymore. My blood sugar is constant and stable. So, and I feel more energetic, I feel motivated, inspired. But that's about the stats that's probably important to the person out there wanting to lose the weight, that it can be done. And you can lose the centimeters. That can be done.
And so what kind of people do you think would benefit from the Hero program?
Personally, I think anybody that are struggling with, even if you don't have a weight problem, I believe anybody can benefit. I think it's my new addiction. I'm totally hooked for life on the RMR program. It's like I said to you the other day, you're not going to get rid of me. I'm here to stay. But I think anybody that's been yo-yo dieting, that has always had a bad relationship with food, that has lost their power to actually control what they eat. They've lost their power in life to make decisions, to make rational decisions. Anybody that, I can remember I was so desperate. Anybody that is desperate and thinking, I just don't know how I'm going to do this. It is just so overwhelming. There's so much information out there that confuse the people out there. So I know that if a person joined the Real Meal Revolution program, that brings clarity, because that is what happened with me. The moment I joined the program, I had total clarity on what to do, how to do it, what to eat. But the one thing I do want to say, it is not a program of do's and don'ts and rules and people fixing you. It's really a program. I felt that this program guided me and prodded me to actually think for myself and to take ownership of my process for health and take ownership. I really can't say the program failed me because I've taken ownership of my transformation on health. So I think anybody that is desperate, confused, fed up with being tired, fed up with yo-yo dieting can benefit from the program. But even people that just want to be healthier or have a transformation in other areas in their life. I've learned so much, not just on weight loss or health, but in every area of my life, I can see that I'm growing and personal growth.
That's really remarkable. And I've been saving it. I don't know why I didn't mention in the beginning, but obviously training now to run your own hero program. What are your what excites you about running your own hero program?
There's two things that excites me. There was obviously a reason why I trained as a dietitian and I qualified as a dietitian, because it is still my passion to find solutions for eating better. And the one thing I've learned in Real Meal Revolution is that everybody's way of handling the food side differs. So it's not just one fixed diet plan and that's for everybody. So I think that it's important for people to also understand that it's individualized and you take ownership and you take part in the planning of how you're going to do the program. And I think that is important. So for me, I feel like Real Meal Revolution is giving the opportunity to take my purpose back and my calling back to help people on this road of this journey of transformation, but being better equipped with better knowledge, with better tools that I can use, with an amazing support group. I mean, every coach, you, Bridget, Victoria, Sam, everybody on this program is there to help. So I never felt alone or isolated on this program or helpless. There's always help. So that's the one thing why I'm very excited. And the next reason is, for me, it feels like I've got my calling back. I can help people. And then the other thing is to pay forward. Because if I can just influence one person's life, the way you guys have influenced my life and given me back my life and my power, I would be so happy. So for me, it's all about paying forward what I've received and sharing the experience and the knowledge that I've gained from you guys in learning on and tackling this huge obstacle of losing the weight. And then the other thing that I must just mention, for me, the biggest part is also I want to stay part of that 2% of people that lose weight and keep it down and maintain the weight loss. And whenever I feel this is too challenging and too tough, and I think, I need to be part of that 2%. So that sort of workshop also made such a life-changing effect in my life, because I just cannot give up. I don't want to be part of the 98%. I've got to be part of that 2%. And to help people to realize that and to be part of that 2%, I think is what makes me excited about being a leader for a hero group. That's
great. I mean, I don't know what else to say apart from I'm just so grateful, to have had you on the show and to share your story. I bet you everyone who's watching this is truly inspired. Like your the way you've explained everything is beautiful. And yeah, I'll never say I'm proud of you because that's so patronising, but I'm so happy for you and so I suppose honored that Real Meal has been able to play a role in your transformation. But you've done all the work and it's amazing and inspiring. So thank you very much.
But all I can say, it's very easy to do the work if you have the support that I received from Real Meal Revolution. Really, to me, it was just such an uplifting and experience and a building experience. And if my weight didn't come down, nobody is shouting at me, telling me I'm lying, I did cheat. I think that's something, if you've been on diet programs, you know, that often you get blamed if your body is not performing or achieving goals. And I think in the environment that you guys have established, where it's always positive, and let's find the obstacle and let's work around it instead of feeling judged and not good enough because you didn't achieve, makes an absolute huge difference. And I just wake up every morning with a very grateful heart towards Real Meal Revolution, and the fact that you never gave up on the company and that you kept on going. That's your goal, to help people, and that I can just sort of slip into that goal and help people out there. Because it's a nightmare if you're caught up in this food addiction, food cycle, weight cycle. It's a tough road. It's not an easy road.
You're totally right. Tertia, thank you very much. I'm gonna end the broadcast and just stay on the line. But thank you very much for watching, everyone. And Tertia, thank you very much for joining us. That's all. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.